It's 1:30 a.m. You left the TV on and fell asleep on the couch again. You wake up to that familiar jingle any Binghamton native would recognize in an instant. Hello, and welcome to another look into our local history. Today, I will be exploring the Giant, a former staple of our area that stood the test of time for 76 years before its purchase by We Is. Before we get started with our journey, I would like to thank everyone for the huge amount of support and positive feedback I've been getting on my mini documentaries I've been producing for the past 2 weeks. It means the world to me, and it makes all the time I put into these well worth it. With that being said, if anyone is interested in helping fund my research to make more of these videos, of course watch my videos and subscribe. It'll put me one step closer to being monetized, but also consider donating to my Patreon. I pay on average $10 to $30 per video to copy pictures from the Broome County Historical Society, so these videos aren't cheap, and any dollar amount would help. Well, enough of my Patreon spiel. Let's get this video started. I'll see you in 1933. It's 1933. Adolf Hitler is appointed as the new Chancellor of Germany thanks to the Enabling Act put into place earlier that month. The first drive-in theater opens up in Camden, New Jersey, costing 25 cents per car and an additional 25 cents per person. The 400 parking spot theater was an amazing feat which sparked a drive-in theater boom, which at its peak, 4,000 drive-ins dotted the lands across the U.S. A huge change in tides. Prohibition ended as the 18th Amendment was repealed by the 21st, ending the 13-year dry spell and ushering in a massive boom of breweries, wineries, and distilleries across the country. The same year, two brothers, George and Mitri Akel, opened up what would be the first self-service grocery store in the state of New York. The original Giant location was built at 184-186 Court Street at the former Universal Motor Car Co. building. The building still stands today and now houses the Lord's Family Mental Health Center. Before that time, to buy groceries, you'd have to go to a grocer with a list and go to the front counter. He would pick all your items for you from a shelf behind the counter. Items were limited and wait times were enormous, so this was a game changer for everyone. 1939. The Giant is seeing huge growth. With the Great Depression now coming to an end, they made the move to open up a second location at 5658 Main Street. This location was featured at the NCR, or National Cash Register Pavilion, at the 1939 World's Fair in New York City. The 1940s was very sparse with information on anything related to the Giant, so let's go ahead and skip to 1956. The Giant opens its fourth store. Yes, fourth, not third. There is no information at the library on when the third store opened, but it did sometime between 1939 and 1952. So the fourth store opens up at 1290 Upper Front Street. It's a huge success. This prompts the Akels 4 years later to purchase land at the corner of Day Hollow and Route 26 for $50,000 or $424,167.23 in 2019 dollars, which is about what Jake Paul makes in a week off YouTube revenue. Great job, Jake. Keep being awful. 1964, the Conklin Ave Giant opens. This Giant was very close to my heart. I remember spending many hours after school with my mom, roaming the aisles and secretly building forts in the stacks of paper towels. 1965 to 1977, the Giant opens up 4 more locations. 305 Main Street, Binghamton, Hooper Road, Endwell, Main Street, Vestal. Yeah, that weird one that's oddly placed in the woods, and Robinson Street, Binghamton. 1978, the Giant's original location at 184 Court Street gets a complete remodel with neon lighting, brown tile floors, and the Giant's signature paint scheme we remember today. 1981 was a milestone of a year for the Giant, with its Harry L. Drive store opening, making its official store count 10, and the introduction of UPC scanners, which eliminated time-consuming manual price entry. This truly moved the 48-year-old grocery store chain into the future. 1985, construction begins on the all-new state-of-the-art Front Street Giant supermarket. A fun fact, Dorman Creek used to run straight through this property, but William H. Lane, the general contractor in charge of the project, rerouted the entire creek to connect with the nearby Castle Creek and out into the Susquehanna River. I'm sorry if it seems I'm skipping through years to speed up the video, but being that this is a grocery store, It truly didn't have much information to work with to start, and some of the gaps span 10 years or more between important developments, so bear with me. 1994, the new Pennsylvania Avenue location opens, measuring an astonishing 55,000 square feet, nearly twice the size of any other Giant location at the time, but still tiny compared to Wegmans in Johnson City at 118,000 square feet. 1997 saw the Giant take over a former rival's empty storefront as it moves into its Northgate Plaza location where once stood a Grand Union grocery store. Speaking of the Northgate Plaza, who remembers Northgate Speedway? Obviously the building is still there with the outdoor track slowly rotting away. But what a great time this place used to be. In 2003, it repeated the process and moved into Grand Union's former location on Hooper Road, moving a few storefronts down from its older location at the western end of the plaza. 2009 was the biggest year as well as the last year for the Giant. May 21st, 2009, the Giant publicly announces its sale to the grocery store chain Wise. Or for some locals who oppose the sale, We is. Wise would restructure all of the stores in the next 90 days and give all 1,000 plus employees a chance for a re-interview to see if they fit into the Wise culture. Summer 2009, the Giant's downtown location closed down after 70 years of operation, leaving those without vehicles to walk over 2 miles down Main Street to the next accessible grocery store, Price Chopper. Speaking of Price Chopper, around the same time the sale of the Giant was closing out, a great grocery store battle was going on between the two. As Price Chopper accused the Giant of stealing trade secrets. According to court filings, Todd Hoover of the A.I. George Distribution Company was allegedly stealing Price Chopper flyers before their distribution and handing them over to his boss, who, in turn, handed them over to August Kuczynski, the director of operations for the Giant. Price Chopper filed a $20 million lawsuit against the Giant, which was eventually settled in private court for an undisclosed sum of money. Saying goodbye to the Giant was like saying goodbye to an old friend. And although the name has changed, the memories will always be there. So I have one last thing to ask you. See you at the Giant?